Hello.
Hey, everybody. So, tonight we're not playing, well, we did play Atlantis, but we're not playing games tonight. Tonight we are, camera's up there. We're doing a little something different.
Tonight is Does It Rank or Is It Rank?
Catchy slogan.
Did not make that name up. That was all you.
I should be in marketing.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to rank every game, mostly every game, made from the year 2010 to 2019. Because pinball has really kind of seen a rebirth over this decade. It has made quite a lot of really amazing machines. Some not so good ones, as we will discuss. But overall, pinball has really kind of seen almost a revival in this decade, and really made some really awesome machines, as opposed to the previous decade, which they nearly died out, which would have been a shame. Did I just hit the button? Okay, cool. Okay, so I decided to put mine up into tiers. I believe I put tiers into Elite, the best of the best, Great, just shy of Elite. I had a really long, good tier list. I had an okay tier list, a bad, and an awful. I tried to spread them out evenly. I did not do a good job of that, but there are 5 in the elite tier, 5 in the great tier, and 5 in the awful tier. So from 40 to 36 here is my absolute awful, worst of the worst tier. And the very worst game of this decade, of course, it's Thunderbirds. This might not even really count because this game's still in production, but you can buy it full price. I know there's some fans of the Thunderbirds theme. I don't really know what a Thunderbirds is, so even the theme I don't really get. As far as gameplay goes, there's literally nothing to talk about. There's one ramp in the middle, and you can't even hit it because it's too steep, and then there's just virtually nothing else. Scoring's bad, layout's bad, design's bad. This game's just bad, and yes, it's not complete, but maybe it's just one that really shouldn't be completed. Next up is I can't even say it right. Rob Zombie International Spook Show. This is a complete game, and that's a crying shame because this game really just should have never been made. It's a bad theme. Really, there's not that many fans of Rob Zombie. Not that great a guy, maybe movie director. The game in of itself it tries to go for spooky and horror, but really it's just disgusting and gross. It's disgusting and gross to play. It's disgusting and gross to look at, and it's disgusting and gross to listen to. It's way too raunchy, and there's just no good way to market it. So, 39. If they do ever finish Thunderbirds, it may actually get higher than Rob Zombie. That's how bad this game is. 38, Big Butt Counter. We have a nickname for this game at the Count Family household. It is called Big Suck Hunter. This game sucks. It's really, really bad. Playfield is way too open. There's very little to do. The theme, just not a fan. I understand in the from 2006 when this game was being put everywhere in convenience stores. It was like the most popular arcade game of 2006. That's doesn't mean anything because arcades were on life support. I believe this is only like a 2-ball multi-ball thing as well. So Big Buck Hunter, not a good theme, not a good game, very boring to play. It's not good. Next up is Avengers or the Hulk. It's a crying shame that this game is as bad as it is because it's such a good theme. And JJP seems to love remaking really good stern themes, but not so good stern games. And this is the game to remake. With Avengers Infinity War or Endgame would be amazing. I don't even want to know the amount of cost it would get the licensing to that. But this game is just a slog. It takes way too many shots to activate each mode, and even when you do activate the modes, you get very little reward. The only thing worth shooting is the Hulk multi-ball, which is just annoying. The drop targets are annoying. There's a big tesseract thing in the middle, spinner-looking thing that just takes up way too much space. And that's really the best thing I can describe about Avengers. Everything takes up way too much space. It's just not a good game. And the last in the awful list is WrestleMania Pinball. This one's kind of hard for me because I was a wrestling fan for a while, and I was really, really hoping this game would be good. It's not. There really is no actual wrestling licensed game that is good. There is the tag team from the 80s or 70s? 70s or 80s. It's a decent enough game, but every officially licensed WWE pinball game is awful, and this is the worst of the worst. The best way to get points in this game is the upper playfield, the ring, which does not function hardly correctly at all. it just kind of flails around randomly, and that's the only good way to get points. So playability in this is almost nothing. If you are going to get it, I highly recommend getting the Legends version, which is the premium over the Pro. The Pro is pretty awful. Half the wrestlers in the Pro don't even wrestle anymore. This was just a quick cash grab from Stern to try to make money. Same with WWE. The WrestleMania was coming out, and they wanted to make some extra money to promote WrestleMania. The year, I believe, was WrestleMania 31. Awful game. Hardly even plays right. Next up, we have just the bad tier. This tier is actually pretty short. As I said, this decade was pretty good. These games are either playable for the most part or do have some redeeming quality over the other 5, which I just would not recommend at all. There's at least something about these games that is endearing or enjoyable, but I just personally don't like them at all. Start out with, and this is going to get so much hate, is Oktoberfest. I'm hearing a lot of people actually really, really like this game. And I will be honest, I have not played very much of it. I think I may have played it 5 or 6 times. My overall first impression of it, though, is just not good. And I can appreciate the artwork and all the custom stuff put into it. It's not your run-of-the-mill music artist or movie theme. It at least has some creativity, which I will give it full credit for. But gameplay-wise, it is just way too slow and sloggy. Really, you just constantly hit this really steep left ramp all the time. And like gameplay, there's next to nothing to do. But then as far as choosing your modes, there's like way too much. Like you get a ball somewhere in the little like choose your mode thing, and there's like 30 different things to choose from. I don't know. And then visually, to me at least, it just really doesn't stick out amongst other games. A lot of JJP games, like really, you put this game in front of Wizard of Oz or Jurassic Park, it's not going to stand out at all. 34. I don't even want to say this name's game. The name of this game. Whoa Nelly, Big Juicy Melons by Stern. Now, I do not believe Stern was the original people who made this game. I believe it was made by some really minor company, and then Stern got the rights to it. There's nothing wrong with the way this game plays. It's just really boring. It plays like an updated EM. It's really all it is. It's an updated EM, like as a modern-ish looking design. It's just an EM, and I'm not an EM guy. There's no multi-ball. There's no modes. It's just pop around the pop bumpers a little bit, keep it alive as long as you can. 5 balls, go on to the next game. So in other words, it plays well, but it plays boring. And then last up is America's Most Haunted. I believe this was the first game made by Spooky. And yes, it's not all that great. It's really, really dark. Visually, it's not very impressive. Gameplay-wise, it's kind of hit or miss, and the theme is just meh. It comes off as a really corny American TV show. It's just not fun. But given that Spooky was literally just a podcast, this is impressive. So very well done for a first game, and they would greatly improve on their games to come, as you will see later on in this list. It's in the bad tier, but considering what Spooky had to work with at the time, not a bad first game. Alright, next we have just the OK tier list from numbers 32 to 26. These games, they're just kind of mediocrity defined. Some things are good, some things are bad, or they're just all kind of meh. They don't really stick out in the crowd, but they're not going to make you want to stop playing pinball for the rest of your day. So let's get on to it. Number 32 is Avatar. I honestly didn't even know this game came out this decade. It came out right at 2010, so I went ahead and added it to the list. I know everyone loves this movie, and I did like the Avatar movie quite a lot. It's a pretty good theme. I barely even remember the layout. I know I've played this several times, but it's just been so long, and that might be why it's low as it is. It's been so long since I've played this game, but I don't really remember being all that impressed with it. I don't remember hating it, but I don't remember being impressed with this game whatsoever. It kind of came out right before Stern was making really, really good games, stuff like Tron, AC/DC, things like that. It came out just a year or two before they were making really, really good games. Next up is 31 Transformers. Now, this is a lot of people's least favorite game, not just of this decade, but possibly of all time. And for the life of me, I cannot understand the hatred for this game. I understand some people hate the theme. Okay, fair enough. Transformers movies are what they are. I love a little carnage, a little bit, but yeah, it's whatever. If you hate the theme, you hate the theme. If you love the theme, you love the theme. To me, the gameplay can be kind of boring at spots, but there is quite a lot of modes to do. The multi-balls, though they are somewhat annoying to get, are fun. Visually, it's not a standout, but it's not disgusting to look at. Like, I don't get disgusted looking at this game like I do at Rob Zombie. So, it is mediocre. It's not good, but it does not deserve the hate it gets on website forums, pinside, stuff like that. It gets way too much hate. Next up, at number 30 is Game of Thrones. This is another game I'm going to get so much heat on for having this low. I didn't mention this at the start. On all these games, which it's the best version, so typically assume it's the LE, you know? Game of Thrones, it plays decently. It has too many posts. That's one of my biggest complaints. My biggest complaint with this game is that to the Blackwater multi-ball, though it is really cool and the animation for it is sweet, those light lock shots all the way on the right side, almost toward the outlane, or like the far right outlane shot, it's placed in such a really, really bad spot. And the gold system is weird. The way scoring works in this game is very weird. And maybe if I was a fan of Game of Thrones, if I watched the TV show a lot, this game would be higher up. I'm not. I've never actually seen an episode of Game of Thrones. So, this is where it sits. 29, Mustang Pinball. Mustang Pinball is literally mediocrity defined. There's nothing really awful with it, but it's not going to wow you. Nothing in this game is going to impress you, but nothing's really going to make you upset, really. The scoring can be quite unbalanced if you play long enough, and if you are good, you will be playing this game for a very, very long time. There's not a lot of death shots. It's really easy game, which is a huge complaint. It over relies on the upper drop, not the upper, but the gears drop targets. It relies on that way too much. The multi-balls are repetitive. A lot of the stuff in this game is just repetitive. The theme is decent. I do like the theme about cars. It's not about movie or about a band, so it is kind of cool. I don't believe there was a Mustang pinball yet. There's a lot about like Camaro and Ferrari, I believe, was made one. But yeah, I do like how it had the different decades of the cars, like ones from the 60s up to the moderns. That was kind of neat. But gameplay-wise, this is just meh. You'll go away playing this game just saying to yourself, meh, okay. 28, Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle. Awesome theme. I believe this was Spooky's second or third pinball, and they did quite a good job. The biggest complaint I have with the game is the shots are very, very, very tight, and there is quite a lot of posts. I think there's like 8. There's a lot of posts, so you're going to be struggling to hit shots quite often. But theme-wise, this is really, really cool. I am a huge Alice Cooper fan. Huge step up for Spooky here. And though it's not quite as visually impressive as some of their other games, as you will see later, Alice Cooper Nightmare's Castle is worth the play, and I'd even argue worth the buy. 27, Elvira's House of Horrors. I have such mixed feelings about this game. I am glad they made it. A lot of games do deserve a trilogy series. Black Knight deserved a trilogy series. I still think the Attack from Mars series deserves a trilogy, and I am glad this game exists. It has some fun stuff to it. They brought back the voice actor from Scared Stiff and Party Monsters. They brought back Elvira. She's even doing like live video stuff in the game. Really, really cool stuff. The ramp comboing system's alright. Some of the other shots are meh. It feels way too much like Medieval Madness. Scoring's okay. But my biggest complaint with this game is, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out why Stern does this, it's incomplete. It's playable, but if you're good enough to get to the wizard mode, you will be met with nothing. The game will keep playing, but nothing will score until you drain your ball out. This was a horrible, horrible mistake by Stern, and they need to correct it as soon as possible. Because unlike Black Knight, even when Black Knight did not have completely coded, it was still playable from beginning to end. This one, I can't really recommend it because it's just not playable throughout. But other than that, if it didn't have that flaw, it would probably be up 3 or 4 more spots. So fix that mistake, and then it'll be probably at least pretty good. Whoops, wrong button. 26 is Munsters. I know a lot of people are huge, huge fans of Munsters. Never really saw it growing up, but I do love the black and white artwork on the premium. It's really nice. Theme's alright. But the reason why this is mediocre is it really just feels like a watered-down Monster Bash. If you've played Monster Bash, then for all intents and purposes, you've played Munsters, and you'll just want to play Monster Bash instead. This did manage to sell really well. They were selling it like crazy back in February when it first came out. And the black and white does look really cool. It does look really retro. I like that aspect to it. But really, all you're getting with Monsters is a new visual and watered down version of Monster Mash. Still plays well. Everything works right for the most part. It's just, why would you play this over Monster Mash? There's no reason. Now we are in the good category, and as you can see, it is way too long because quite a lot of the games made of this decade, frankly, were at least pretty darn good. So let's get right into it. So 25, we have Star Wars Limited Edition. Pinball, for the longest time, has been trying to make a good Star Wars game, and they really haven't figured it out. Data East, you could argue, was pretty good. Episode 1 was awful. I forget what else they've made, but pretty much everything else is awful. And this game's kind of growing on me a little bit. The scoring's still really weird in the modes, though they are fun. They don't interact well. This game's not very good when it comes to interaction and play, but when it comes to like the screen and just how much work went into it and like all the different movie scenes, you do kind of feel like you're playing the movie, which is really, really cool. Don't like the button spamming stuff with TIE Fighter. That was bad. I don't get what Stern loves about hitting things in the middle. I'm never going to understand that. But overall, there's quite a lot to do in this game. It's pretty fun, pretty challenging. So, yeah, Star Wars LE Edition. Not a bad game. Pretty good. 24 X-Men. This one came out pretty much the beginning of the decade. It has quite a lot of stuff to go for, quite a lot of modes. Wolverine multi-ball is fun, but is really annoying to get. You have to hit them in the shots like almost all the way up toward the drain. Like it's really, really far. And a scoop next to it's also pretty annoying. Magneto multi-ball is cool, albeit the magnet. I'm not a fan of magnets. Not my thing. But the comboing system in this is really good. The ramps are really good. All the different heroes that are in it are really nice. And huge step up from Avengers. I don't remember which one came out between this one or Avengers, but this is Avengers done right. 23 is the Beatles. Beatles looks really, really cool. It kind of has that 60s feel to it. It plays like a solid state. It plays like a modern type solid state. I know it has multi-balls, unlike most solid states, but really the layout of it and how it plays, it feels like a solid state. That's not me insulting it. I like a lot of solid state games. But gameplay-wise, it just really doesn't stick out with other games of its year. It came out in the later part of the decade, like I think towards the end, like 2018, 2019, and a lot of games made toward the end of this decade were really, really, really good and stood out amongst Pinball's elite. Beatles just doesn't quite do that. I'm also just not a fan of the theme. Like, I'm okay with the Beatles, but there's far better music artists that Pinballs have been made of this decade that I was much more hyped for. Yeah. So that's the Beatles. 22, The Hobbit. The Hobbit this is actually the lowest game on this list made by JJP. JJP just does not make bad games. They just don't. And the fact that this is the worst one really goes to tell you because this game is huge. There's a lot to do in it. There's like 6 different multi-ball modes on top of the wizard modes. Playfield's massive. Theme's nice. I do enjoy the Hobbit movies. This game does look pretty good. It's actually the thing about it, and this is not me being insulting, of all the Jersey Jack games, this is probably the worst visually, and it still looks pretty awesome. So I gotta give it that. Gameplay-wise, there is a bit about it I don't like. It is way too wide. There's too many posts. But on top of all that, the rollover to start the main multi-ball, the dragon multi-ball, the white block thing, I don't like that. I wish they would kind of do away with rollovers, because I'm just not a fan of rollovers. So gameplay is what holds this game back. Theme's good. Visually, it's pretty good to look at. There are some better looking games out there, but it's pretty good. 21, Ghostbusters. This game's riddled in controversy. Okay. Ghostbusters, we are ranking this post-update. And after the update, when it fixed a lot of modes, it fixed a lot of the gameplay, I will say Ghostbusters is at least pretty good nowadays. Before update, it was almost unplayable. The scoring was way too unfair. If you didn't make the skill shot, you were just done. You might as well drink the ball and start over. But now you at least don't get punished too hard for not making that skill shot. Still do not like the Scolari brothers. The Scolari brothers are is one of the worst little mini features in Pinball. The game does look pretty darn good visually, and though it is just a bunch of quotes from the movie, they did add a whole bunch of different custom animations and sound to it. So pretty nice overall. Topper's cool. I'll give it that. It relies way too much on the left. Like the right side of the playfield, you'll hardly ever use, and you'll constantly be hitting the spinner and the ramp and the target on the left. So it's kind of a bit one-sided, but still really fun, fast-paced. It can be fun. Number 20, Aerosmith. Aerosmith has a lot of hit or miss features. I'm a pretty huge fan of the band, so there is that. Visually, it's all right. It doesn't really stick out amongst other band pinball games, but it's not atrocious by any means. The toy box multi-ball is awesome. It is really, really good. If you remember the Indiana Jones remake game and how awful it was from 2004, something like that, something like that, early 2000s. It was when pinball was dying. That it didn't really work right. Toy box is that working right. You can choose to lock a ball. You can have 6-ball multi-ball, and it has like a really cool new type of meta game where you can even choose how many balls you want in the multi-ball, which is really cool. And I kind of want other games to do that. It's really neat. Playfield's pretty good. I do enjoy the ramps. The right one's a bit steep, but that's okay. Elevator multi-ball needs fixing. It just doesn't really work right. It's not good. But everything else, playfield-wise, it's all right. It's not amazing, but it's all right. Pretty good. I enjoy the toy box multi-ball. Really, really fun. 19, Iron Man. We're going to get hate on this because, of course, it's rated low. I don't think Iron Man's a bad game. It's good. It is a good game. And it's definitely probably the best game that came out before 2011, 2012. It's the best game from 2010. And probably one of the best games Stern made, right at the beginning of the decade. But and the theme's good. It's not actually every Iron Man movie. I believe it is the first 2 Iron Man movies, which a bit hit and miss. Those movies were good. They weren't amazing. But there's some stuff about this game I really like. I love the ramps. I love the spinners. I am starting to grow on just how open space this game is. I'd rather a game be a lot more open, a lot more compacted. So I don't mind that. Multi-balls are cool, and I'm very glad that just about all of them are stackable. I love it when stackable multi-balls are a thing. But Ironmonger is a bit too close. He kind of swings the ball everywhere. I don't like him, and I don't really like the targets on the side. I don't really like that. But this game is very, very simple, and I do enjoy simple. Getting Wizard Mode is easy. I can explain it in about 3 minutes. I will do that in some other video. But overall, pretty good game. I do think it's a tad overrated, though. Visually, nothing impressive, but considering it's over a decade old now, I think he gets a pass on that. 18, Houdini. Houdini is weird, but kind of awesome. It's almost like a guilty pleasure. We don't actually own one. We have played it several times, and there's just a lot of goofy, wacky stuff this game does. My biggest complaint about it is it's really, really hard. There's just a lot of stuff, like you got to make this combo and this combo, and so it's going to turn a lot of casual and even some competitive players away. But it is somewhat revolutionary in how it plays. It's the first ever and really only game to have inverted and reverse flippers, which is just crazy. It's where you hold the flippers down, and they, just like Ghostbusters, they have like a reverse thing to where you flip the left, it's right, right's left, but then you hold them down and release them to flip, by hitting them to flip. So really crazy stuff, and it's a cool theme. Animations don't really compare with Stern, but that's okay, given that this is not Stern. This is, I believe this is American Pinball. Could be wrong on that. Yeah, it's American Pinball. So they're not working with the same amount of money here, but still looks good. Theme. I'm glad this is a theme. It's a unique theme, and it's very unique. You got to try this one out. I don't know if I'd recommend owning one given the price, but if you can find one, definitely play it. It's a lot of fun. 17, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is a pretty good game. This is only the first movie it is based on. It's not based on the first 2, unfortunately. But has a whole lot of different modes, several different multi-balls. Groot multi-ball is fun. The playfield is pretty darn good. There's not too much going on, but it doesn't really feel like a rip-off of other games. It has a pretty unique feel to it. The game flows nicely for the most part, and that's what all I can say for it. It's a pretty good game. Flows nicely. Gameplay's fun. It's just everything from the movie is in here. That's all it is. It's a fun game. 16 Dialed In. This is a very unique game from Jersey Jack in that it's not based off of a movie. This is a custom theme, and it does a whole lot of crazy stuff that just no other pinball game is going to do. Selfie, multi-ball is crazy. Like, you're getting your pictures taken while you're playing multi-ball. What the heck? Very flashy, just like all Jersey Jack games. I wouldn't say it's the best visually out of what Jersey Jack's game, but it'll definitely stand out amongst the crowd of 90s and 80s games. Very, very well done by Jersey Jack. 15, Batman 66. I have a little bit of mixed feelings on Batman 66 because we didn't want to put remakes on this list. So I thought very hard about putting this game on this list. However, it is pretty much, and a lot of the design and layout-wise is quite similar to the original The Dark Knight Batman, which came out in 2008, which is why it's not on this list. I love that game, which means, for the most part, I love this game too. I actually don't think it's quite as good as The Dark Knight, but it does a couple of stuff better. The Joker shot is much improved. I do like the ramps more than what is on The Dark Knight. I believe the scoring can be a bit unbalanced and even unfair at times. But visually, it's cool. The theme is awesome. Original Batman, awesome theme for Pinball Machine. But yeah, overall it's fun. Combos are awesome. A lot of different modes to play, but still doesn't overcomplicate things. If that's the Stern way, don't overcomplicate things. Good stuff. 14, one of the newest ones in Stern's lineup, Deadpool. This game's kind of grown on me. I didn't love it at first because it's, I don't know, because the thing with Deadpool is, you know what Deadpool is. Deadpool is the loudmouth mercenary in this game. Kind of feels like Spider-Man. It's not really vulgar or anything like that, and we were kind of expecting that. But if you ignore that, if you ignore I'm wearing my Deadpool here. If you ignore the flaw of that character theme, because it's based off the comics, not off the movie, which is cool. I'd rather have a Deadpool comic than a Deadpool movie, even though I love the Deadpool movies. If you ignore that, gameplay-wise, it is quite fun. And it has just like any other Deadpool thing where it breaks the fourth wall and whatnot, it has a lot of really cool Easter eggs to other 80s pinball, which is just awesome. I'm glad they added that in. But, I don't have a whole lot of complaints. The mini Deadpool mode is fun. The targets are a little annoying to aim for, but they're not unfair. I actually like them a little bit more than Iron Man's targets. Ninja Multi-Ball is a lot of fun. Mech Suit's fun. There's a lot, nothing in here is ripped off from a movie or a comic. It's all custom stuff, and I appreciate all the custom stuff and all the work that went in to make this game. Overall, it's fun, but it doesn't quite feel like Deadpool. It feels a little bit more like Spider-Man or another other comic, so I think it's a mismatch on the theme. But that really is my biggest complaint with it. Other than that, it plays great. Gameplay-wise, it's probably top 10. 13, Kiss. This is a highly underrated game. Even before the update, this game played really, really well. All the different modes work very well. I don't really think it's unbalanced. The biggest complaint with music pinballs is the ones where you pick the song and it changes the mode. The modes are completely unbalanced. Really, every mode in this game is a great opportunity to score points. There really is no bad mode. There are some that I think are better than others. I could discuss that. But for the most part, every decision you make pre-flip or pre-launch is good. Visually, it's great. The little toys in the game are awesome. The Gene Simmons head looks really, really nice. Sounds awesome. I believe this was the first game in Stern's lineup to make the power switch not be on the bottom of the machine, but on the top, where you just flick them on, which is a great addition. That's the best thing Stern's ever done. That's not quite true. Good addition. Post-update, I do love the comboing system. I love how you don't choose your town anymore. That really had no purpose. It wasn't boring to do. It just literally served no purpose, and now it does. Now the towns give you points and stuff. I don't like what they did, the Love Good Multi-Ball. Some people really enjoy that. It makes it more fun, more challenging, but If you whiff on that shot, Love Gun is worth next to nothing, so don't love that. I have mixed feelings about the update, but even post-update, this game is fun, looks awesome, plays awesome, and is a great second version, remake, if you will. It's a remake of a 70s EM, so awesome game by Stern. Highly underrated. 12, Metallica. And I know I mentioned earlier that a lot of these games, I was like, just assume it's the LE. Metallica, in this case, assume it is the Pro. We're not really huge on the LE and Premium. I know the hammer looks cool, but we don't like how much space it takes up. Just assume it's that. This game plays fast, it can play brutal, and the comboing system is absolutely amazing. All of the multi-balls in it are very, very nice, and they flow well. The custom artwork is pretty nice. It stands out in a crowd, definitely. Doesn't quite compare to a lot of the JJP games and some of the later Sterns, but for the time, it came out in 2013. At the time it came out, there was really only one or two other games that looked as good as Metallica looked. Metallica looked awesome. And Metallica does get bonus points for being like one of the first band-based games where when you pick a song, it doesn't change the game. You just listen to whatever you want to listen to. Yes, I do know that the crank it up thing, that the different 4 songs do different things, but that is basically mini Wizard Mode stuff. That's not pre-launch. What I'm going to decide is going to change how I play the entire game, which is a fun feature, but kind of annoying for competitive players. Metallica, great game. Not a lot of complaints really. 11, The Walking Dead. But when this game first came out, I was not a Walking Dead fan. Never really seen the show. This game actually got me into the show, and I did quite enjoy the show, which kind of grew a little bit more love. I can't really tell what's better between Premium, LE, or Pro. We own a Pro. We don't like the crossbow, but I don't know. This game is just one of the craziest, fastest combo-heavy games ever made. It's so much fun to play, but it can be so tilting to play as well. I don't recommend it for casual players. I just don't, because of how brutal it plays. Unless it's set up on easy settings. Factory setting, Walking Dead will just take your money. They'll just take your money and eat your lunch. But and the big reason for that is the one flaw in this game, the one thing that keeps it out of the great and elite tiers, is when it comes out of the launch, it's very hard to get it right where you want to. Sometimes it goes right down the middle, and you have to either choose to take a danger or two, or just go through the ball save. So that is really the one design flaw in this game. Other than that, the ramps and the orbit and the pops and the 2 massive bash targets are placed very, very nicely. Not huge on magnets, but they make the game more fun. It wouldn't be Walking Dead without the magnets, and I can excuse them here. But awesome combo-heavy game, awesome theme. Literally, when you play this game, you feel like you're killing zombies, which is awesome. This is what Rob Zombie strives to be, to put it bluntly. Okay, so that is my last of the good tier list. Now we are into the great. We're in our top 10. This is what really defined the decade. And a lot of these are JJP and Sterns. Although there is one secret game pretty high up that I think you'll appreciate. But right in at number 10, we have Pirates of the Caribbean. This is the Jersey Jack pinball version, not Stern. Stern's Jersey Jack pinball came out in 07 or 08, I believe, so it did not make this list due to just being too old. And that game wasn't all that bad. This game improves on that game in literally every single way. This game is just crazy. Before you plunge the ball, there's like 20 different things you pick from that alter your game for the entire thing. And though I don't love that as a competitive player, the fact that they put that much work into that is just crazy. There's like 7 or 8 different multi-ball modes. Visually, it's crazy. It has bits from all 6 of the movies, or 5 or 6, however many there are now. It's just incredible the amount of work JJP put into this game. And though we don't own one, and I haven't played it nearly enough to, I think, give it the full appreciation it deserves, Pirates of the Caribbean, made by JJP, is absolutely incredible. Number 9, Star Trek LE. This was really, once games like this started coming out from Stern, this is when pinball started to see a revival. You will see this game everywhere in competitive settings, and even in a lot of people's houses. Not just because the theme's awesome. Everyone in pinball's a nerd. We all love Star Trek. You know the song and dance. But everything just flows really, really nicely. It's simple but not boring, and the gameplay is fast and exciting. There's never a dull moment. The artwork and animations are custom, and they look really, really nice. They have the quotes from the movies, so it's not like cringy or anything like that. I don't want to talk too much about this game, but it's really fun and it added in a lot of cool stuff. And the gameplay and the scoring is really balanced, really fair, really fun. You never really feel like you're out and down in a game of Star Trek because just one multi-ball and one mode can get you going. All the modes are really fun and really unique. There's 6 different ones, and they all play very, very well. There is really no boring or bad mode to play. There's just very few complaints I have with Star Trek. The best I could say is the bash target in the middle can be a bit annoying sometimes. Maybe. I wish the vengeance shots, the middle button, I don't like the middle button. I wish it was on the side. That's about all I got. It's a really good game. Number 8, AC/DC. Came out in 2011, helped bring rather like a revival to pinball. Looks fantastic. One of the best Stern games ever made from a visual standpoint. Gameplay-wise, they put a lot of work into this. There's like 12 different songs, and they all drastically change the gameplay from what you picked. Mini playfield on the LE and Premium. Those look really, really nice. Steve Ritchie's voice as Satan is awesome. Thank you, Steve Ritchie, for your beautiful, beautiful voice as Satan. Really, the game, the only complaint I have with the game involves the meta to it. If you're a competitive player, what you're going to do is you're going to just constantly spam the ramps. But that is on you as the player, not on the game. The game is designed very, very well, and if you play it the way it's meant to be played, where you actually hit more than just one shot, there's a lot more stuff to go for than the ramp. It's just the ramp. That's how you get the multi-ball the easiest. If you play it to the fullest extent, it is very, very fun. There's so much stuff to do in this game. You will have a blast. This game probably has one of the highest replay values of any pinball game that there is. 7, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is the newest game JJP has made, and I can end this right here. This is the visually most impressive pinball game. Like, it's a light show. LEDs flashing everywhere. It's just insane. And in my opinion, though I haven't played it a whole lot, I had a really high opinion of this game when I first played it. I think it plays very, very well. In fact, it might be my favorite gameplay of any JJP game. That's saying something, because their games play very, very well. A lot of stuff to do. I think there's also like 5 or 6 multi-ball modes. Very awesome theme. I'm so glad they do like family movie stuff. That really isn't something that's been done recently. A lot of it's just been like bands and superhero movies. I'm glad they're kind of shifting a little bit from the norm and making these really cool themes. Willy Wonka is a really cool theme. I'm glad it's been made. Yeah, it's just a light show. It's freaking beautiful. It's so beautiful. Very good job, JJP. Number 6, Wizard of Oz. I had a very hard time putting this in the Elite because there are some gameplay flaws with Wizard of Oz. I don't like rollovers. When the game first came out, there were some issues with it. They have fixed them. The Yellow Brick Road Wizard of Oz is absolutely amazing. And I think Yellow Brick, if I was just ranking individual, might be a spot higher. I don't know. But Wizard of Oz is absolutely incredible. It is no joke to say that this game helped change pinball. Once this game came out, there was a massive explosion in homeowners wanting more and more pinball, wanting to consume more and more pinball. Amazing theme, absolutely beautiful. I still believe it's the second best visual-looking game JJP has ever made. And Yellow Brick Road even gives Willy Wonka a run for its money. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to look at, beautiful to play. There's just like little bitty touches they added in that went a long way. Fixing the scoring to where it no longer scores in the millions and billions, it just scores in the 100,000. It's subtle. It's a nice change of pace. It gives it that old school feel while feeling absolutely revolutionary for pinball. Okay, now we're in our Elite tier list. This is the Elite. This is the absolute best pinball had to offer for this decade. And coming in at number 5, I haven't shown them a whole lot of love in this video, but they deserve it here. Total Nuclear Annihilation by Spooky Pinball. Holy cow. This game, visually and the sound, is incredible. All custom. No, not from a movie or anything like that. All custom work was done here. It's just incredible. And gameplay-wise, it looks like a solid state, at first glance, but it plays like nothing else. Super fast. Oh my gosh. If you are a competitive player, you're going to eat this game up because it is a huge challenge. You will never be bored playing this game. My only complaint with the game is lock stealing, which is just a pet peeve. And you can even turn it off, I believe. But other than that, the game's revolutionary. There's even like freaking tag team mode in it where you can play like 2-on-2, or even all 4 share a score. Just little bitty touches like that. I mean, you're saving the world from nuclear annihilation. That's an awesome theme for a pinball. The front box art on the thing is really amazing. Probably some of the best custom box art I've ever seen. TNA is very, very well done, and I'm glad Spooky got their big break once this game came out. It was very, very well deserved. Number 4 is Black Knight Premium Edition. The Pro, it's not great. The Premium is awesome and highly underrated. This is the best soundtrack in pinball. I will say that up front. I believe that the music is the flat-out best in all of pinball in this game. I know not a lot of people are into heavy rock. I am, and that's probably why the bias comes in. Visually, it's absolutely incredible. Definitely top 3 visually. Gameplay-wise, it's brutal. It's very, very brutal, and it's very, very fun. There's really not that much flaws with the gameplay. The rules could use still a little bit more tweaking, but they did update them and make them a lot better. I really don't have a whole lot of complaints as far as rule set goes. The modes are all really, really fun. All the custom enemies in it look really, really good. The Black Knight looks amazing. It has the best topper in pinball. You know, like the freaking Black Knight head is the most interactive topper I've ever seen in my life. It's like that. It follows the ball, looks at it about a second glance. Incredible work. I think it's Steve Ritchie's best game. I'm not saying something. So, yeah. Number 3, Jurassic Park. This is probably the best playing game of the late 2010s. This game came as a shock because I was like, oh, they're remaking Jurassic Park. Okay, whatever. It's just going to be an updated thing from the 90s. No, it's all new. The rule set. They may have the most fun rule set of any pinball game. It's virtually flawless. You know, and they don't rip anything off the movies. It's all custom stuff, custom animation, custom soundtrack. Really, really good. I'm glad they put all the time and effort into this to making this a really, really good game. It came as a shock. My only complaint with this game isn't even about the game. This came out before we even made the list, and it's not going to affect the list. It's not. But I don't know why Stern decided to do this. They made a topper for it. It doesn't look great. It's a mediocre topper. They're adding in new gameplay features with the topper. So basically, they're doing DLC for pinball. Because without the topper, you don't have the gameplay features. Like there's like new rule set and new modes with the topper. The topper's $700. $700 DLC is not the thing to do, Stern. Please don't do that. But that is my only complaint with the game. That's not even the actual game in itself. It's absolutely incredible. Number 2, Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast. I go so back and forth between 2 and 1. It is crazy. Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast is easily the best game made since 2015 and even 2011. It is the best game of the later part of this decade. And I believe number 1 and number 2 is the best 2 games in pinball. Not even just the best games of the decade. These are my 2 favorite games in all of pinball history. Iron Maiden LE just has so much to offer. So many different modes, so many different multi-balls. It looks visually stunning. You will be blown away just looking at this game, firing it up. I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan, so of course I absolutely love the music. I understand if you're not an Iron Maiden fan, probably not going to fall head over heels for this game, but I did the first time I played it, and I've probably played this game more than any other game in the past 5 years. I never get bored of it. It's just so much fun. Even the Pro, which is nowhere near as good as the LE or Premium, still plays great. It's still like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. The Premium and LE are almost flawless. The only flaw of this game is when you're trying to make the loop shot on it, it'll oftentimes get caught midway. That's nothing a simple little nudge or a little shake or a little love tap, as we call it, can't fix. It's just an incredible game. But the first on our list, or on my list, is Tron Legacy. I really don't know the difference between the Pro and LE. They both play really, really good. Visually, it looks great. It was a breath of fresh air of games that came out. It came out in 2011, and it still feels amazing to play. And this game does have a little bit of bias, and I will explain the story behind this. When we were moving into our new house, the only thing we really had for entertainment was this game, so we played it a lot. There's just a lot of good memories and a lot of good feelings that come with this game. It basically has the feel of arcades and pinball all wrapped inside of it. It is based off of the movie. The movie didn't get a lot of praise. I actually really liked the movie. It's not the best movie ever, but I liked it quite a lot. Visually, this game is stunning. I love Daft Punk. Daft Punk, just listening to this game is awesome. I never get bored listening to this game. Gameplay-wise, it has the best layout in all of pinball. And it probably has the best rule set in all of pinball. The way to get the modes and get into the wizard mode is really simple, but really, really fun and effective. I wish they would make more rule sets the way they made Tron. This is the most fair scoring, too. Like, everything you hit is an opportunity to score a lot of points, but not an opportunity to blow away. You never feel like you're out and about in a game of Tron. Pretty much everything in this game is stackable, which I just love. You never feel like you're wasting time going for this shot when you should be going for this. There's an opportunity to score it every which way. And it's just the best game, not just of this decade, but I will argue the best game of all time. That is all. Now you will be hearing my dad's list. It is a lot different than mine. He has a lot of different opinions than me about this decade, so should be fun. I'll let him take over.
My turn, huh? Well, let's see what I can do with this list. First off, I'm not going to take that long, so that'll help a little bit.
I didn't think I took too long.
Oh, probably 45 minutes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he really did.
No.
I do my list a little different than he did his. First off, I'm going to do the 5 worst pinballs of the decade. Coming in number 5, the 5th worst game of the decade would be WrestleMania. That. Sorry. Take fake wrestling and combine it with fake pinball, and you got an awful game. Big Buck Hunter, which was just an attempt to latch on to the video game with the same name. Terrible game. Plays awful. Bad humor. That. Sorry, George Gomez. This is a game that should have been awesome. It was rushed. Try to get it out towards the Christmas season. It's got a million ball hangs on it. Blah. And I'll never forget what it did to me at the tournament at Texas Pinball Festival by being the most ball-sticking, breakdown prone thing ever to come out of the box. Except for maybe Waz when it first came out of the box. That's number 3. Second worst game on my list for the decade is Rob Zombie. Spooky tried. Theme was interesting. Just, sorry. Worst game of the decade? Thunderbirds. I actually know what the Thunderbirds are. Used to watch it on TV. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Somebody offers you to play this game, go outside and hit yourself in the head with a hammer. It'll be more fun. Top 5 pinballs of the decade. I'm going to tell you what they are right now. 5th best, Star Trek by Steve Ritchie. Great game. We actually sold a theater of Magic to purchase one of these, and it's still here. Pick the theater of Magic back up later, but great game, great shots, great wizard modes, great code, beautiful to look at, all the way around, awesome. Number 4, Black Knight. You have to get the premium or the LE, so you get the upper playfield. Another Steve Ritchie, knock it out of the park kind of game. Soundtrack is awesome. Artwork is beautiful. Get a chance to pick one of these up. 3rd best game of the decade, Jurassic Park. And I didn't think I would like this game either. And it's grown on me like crazy. One of them will probably wind up in the game room at some point. 2nd best game of the decade, Iron Maiden. Take the music, take the theme, take the shots, take the layout. Overall, amazing game. Best game of the decade, bar none, Tron LE. This game takes the arcade experience that we grew up with, wraps it with a movie that's actually quite good, amazing shots, great code, beautiful artwork, amazing sound package. It is Stern's best game ever. It is also the best game of the decade. It's not the best game of all time, though,
In
my opinion. All right, let's rank them all then. Okay, let's rank them all. So, worst game of all time. 39, 38, 37, 36. Now, we're some we haven't seen before. Oktoberfest, too easy to play, so you get bored. America's Most Haunted, Spooky's first attempt at a game, so you got to give them credit for actually producing a game, but it wears pretty thin on you pretty quick. Houdini, shots are too tight. The average player gets frustrated really quick and gets bored and walks away because they can't get anything going. Avatar, just not much on this game. It's stripped down. This came at a time when pinball was kind of hurting, and so the games were really stripped down.
I do believe this is the earliest game on this list.
Could be. Artwork's pretty. It does have that going for it. It has lenticular backglass, which is nice. Probably the best part of the game is the backglass. The Monsters. I really wanted to love this game, but it's just awful. I can't put my finger on it. The shots just don't feel right. I know that sounds weird. It's kind of like, I don't know. I just can't explain it. I wanted to like it, but I don't. Transformers. This one's actually moved up on my list a little bit. I used to hate this game, and now it's tolerable. So, number 30. 29. Whoa Nelly, which is a modern-day take on a classic EM game. It's just kind of a game out of time, not out of place. It doesn't really fit. It was a neat attempt at something different, but it's just a throwback to an EM. So once you've played it, and that's it. So as far as stacking up against anything modern, it really doesn't. Guardians of the Galaxy, awful. I don't like this one either. It ranks higher than some on the list, but way better than Avengers. But I'll walk past this one if there's several games on location. Game of Thrones. Never watched a single episode of it, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't enjoy playing the game. But it just seems so sparse and empty, and I don't know. I don't care for this one either. This is one of Steve's games, and like World Poker Tour, it just didn't grow on me. Mustang. Different for a game based on a car. I thought they should have ran with this and made rethemed it for Dodge owners and Chevrolet owners and used different cars, but could have used the same layout and basically changed it up a little bit. Alice Cooper, 25. I'm actually a big Alice Cooper fan. I kind of like this game. This is one of Spooky's newer attempts. The shots on this are a little tight too, so it's kind of a harder game, but it's not near as hard as Houdini to shoot, so it ranks higher on my list. X-Men. Just weird. It's just a strange game. It seems like everything on the playfield is too big. That's kind of a weird way the figures on it seem too big and overbearing and in the way. I mean, it shoots a little clunky for my taste. The Beatles. A game nobody asked for and nobody really wanted, because all of their fans are in the care home. No, that's really true. I actually like the Beatles, but this is another attempt at a throwback game. I think this was Stern's attempt to try to do what Spooky did with TNA, and they used an existing layout from an older Stern game. I think they would have been better off just re-releasing the older Stern game with the original artwork and using internal guts, modern guts, and making this game, instead of a $7,000 game, making it a $3,000 game that's sold like hotcakes. Hobbit. I'm not sure how this game wound up so high on my list because I really don't like to play it very much. To me, it's just too easy to shoot, and it's multi-ball after multi-ball after multi-ball, and it's a wide open playfield, and it's a wide body, so it seems really floaty. But it's a beautiful game to look at. New players like to play it because it's easy to get going. So, 22. 21, Elvira. I really wanted to like this game too. It ranks higher than a lot of games on my list, but it feels a lot like like Scared Stiff. If you have Scared Stiff, it's hard to have them both in your collection. Total Nuclear Annihilation. Another spooky pinball game. It's a throwback to the solid state era with lots of twists. The soundtrack's amazing. It's hard to believe that a game that is so simple makes it this high on my list. A lot of fun to play, especially with friends. So put it at number 20. 19, Aerosmith. Really a stripped down game. There's not much on this if you don't buy the LE. If you buy the LE, it just has an upper playfield that's sort of pointless, but it is fun to play because the music's good, the artwork's good, the multi-balls are kind of neat. So it comes in at number 19. 18, Star Wars. I don't know how this one made it this high on my list either because I really don't like to play this game. It seems it's kind of neat. It's got some neat stuff on the playfield, but to me the rules seem overly complicated. And to me, pinball the rules should be simple and not complicated. If you have to break out a rule book to figure out how to score well, then the game is probably the rule set's probably too complicated. This game also had a lot of buggy things from the factory that had to be fixed and dialed in to get it working right. I don't know. It could have been a little better. Maybe it needed more cooking time. Iron Man. I'm not sure how Iron Man ranks this high on my list because I absolutely hated this game when it came out. Simple game, not much on the playfield, but it's kind of an adrenaline rush to play, and probably why you see it in a lot of tournaments. Wizard of Oz, number 16. The reason why this game ranks so high on my list is not because it's that much fun to play, because I really don't enjoy shooting it that much. It ranks that high on my list because this is the game that started the modern trend. This is the game that reset pinball. This is the game that made everybody go, oh, we've got to start putting more stuff in our games to make them fun to play again, or nobody's going to buy them. Jersey Jack literally threw everything but the kitchen sink in this game and kind of raised the bar. So it goes way up on my list. 15, Batman. Did a good job taking the classic 60s Batman genre and overlaying it on the Dark Knight table and changing some of the shots up. But for what it costs, you're really paying a very premium price for an art package and a couple of extra shots and three things on shots. So, Deadpool 14. I didn't like this game when it came out either, but it grew on me. So it's made its way up on this. Fun to shoot, neat wizard mode, neat multi-balls. Art package is nice. Audio is nice. Dialed in. One of Jersey Jack's better games. A lot of people don't like this game, but I really do. I think it's one of Pat's better games in recent years. First game to use a camera to take pictures of the players, which can lead to some interesting shots, to say the least. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Another really interesting game. Beautiful game to look at, neat shots, cool modes. Get a chance to play one of these, do. Very, very good game. Pirates of the Caribbean. Almost broke into my top 10. Problem with this game is they're not making it anymore, so the price on it has shot way up. Playfield on this, like Wizard of Oz, is just stacked with stuff. There's stuff everywhere. There's shots everywhere. All kinds of neat things to shoot, look at, modes. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Much like Star Wars, I think this game suffers a little bit from overcoding. It's a little too complicated for my taste. But fun to shoot. Ghostbusters makes it into my top 10, especially with the code update. Beautiful artwork, great shots, fun music, great game. Number 9, AC/DC. One of the best music-based pinball games to date, period. Especially, I like the game with the lower playfield myself. Some people would disagree with that, but I think it helps make the game. Walking Dead. Don't like the TV show. Care nothing about it. Didn't really like this game when it came out, but the code updates really made me warm up to this game. A lot of fun to play, and if it's dialed in right, it's a keeper. Number 7, Metallica. Didn't like this game when it came out either, but it grew on me. And I'm not really a Metallica fan either as far as music goes. I'm a metal fan, but Metallica's not one of my favorite groups. But this game grew on me so much we had to add one to the game board. This is a great game for operators because there's not a lot of stuff on it to break, so it's easy to keep on route to make money. Number 6, Kiss. Great music, great art, great toys, great shots, and finally, great code. So all the way around, great pinball machine. Stern did well on this one. Number 5, we went through these, so I'll just go through them again real quick. Star Trek. 4, Black Knight. 3, Jurassic Park. 2, Iron Maiden. And then the best game of the decade, Tron. So there are my top, I guess there's 40 of them.
Yeah, 40.
40 games of the decade. So there you have it. We've ranked them all, and let's do the yeah, there you go. So which one you want? Okay. So
It took a little bit less time than me.
do what?
It took a little bit less time than me.
A little bit less time than you? Yeah, maybe mine was like 5 minutes.
No, I wasn't that sure.
So anyway, there they are. We do agree on the worst game of all
Yeah,
time.
our bottom 5 and top 5 are nearly identical. Not exactly, but they're pretty close.
We do agree that the best game of the decade
Is Tron.
And the worst game of the decade.
Thunderbirds.
Go Thunderbirds!
And the
Go away!
The second worst as well. And agree. Our top 4 were the exact same.
Are they really? That's cool.
Yeah.
That is hard to believe.
Yeah. But a lot of that middle part is really like I was never huge on Ghostbusters. I'm still not huge on Ghostbusters.
I think Ghostbusters.
And it's your
awesome.
favorite thing ever.
No, it's not my favorite thing ever. I just think it's one of the better games. Yeah. Now we do have still some games left to play in the rotation here.
Yes, we still have 4, and we will be getting those very shortly. We may do a video like this again in the future. It was a lot of fun to make. We love talking about it.
I think we need to probably stick to like the 10 best, the 10 worst.
10 best, 10 worst. We could do ones in the garage, or we could do other decade.
I think we do decades.
Yeah. There's a problem with the 2000s. I don't even know if there's 20 games to rank. There's not a lot of games in 2000s. It's a very short list.
Do the 90s. Do the 80s.
90s will be fun to do. There's a lot of. I don't even know if there's that many bad games in the 90s. There's a lot of truly elite.
Oh, there's some bad games in the 90s. Trust me.
We'll find them. Yeah.
Trust me.
We found
bad
Thunderbirds.
games in the 90s.
But when you think 90s, you think elite pinball. You think Twilight Zone.
Popeye.
What?
Popeye.
What are you talking
Popeye's a 90s game.
I've never even heard of that.
That's why it's awful.
Oh, okay.
Bugs Bunny Birthday Bash.
Yeah, I know that. Okay.
Street Fighter. Waterworld.
Yeah. Oh, Mario? Mario's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Mario's in there.
So it would be something like there's some bad ones in there.
Yeah.
Genesis. Let's see.
Because a lot of those stuff are just like, wait, it's a game.
Raven! No, it's not that's not a nice game. But anyway. So that's it. That's the
list.
Does it rank or is it rank?
If we missed anything, let us know. I believe we got them all. We didn't do multimorphics. We didn't do remakes. So like,
multimorphic's not a remake. Like we said, multimorphic belongs in its own class because it's so different.
And like a lot of remakes we love. I love all the remakes of the '90s games. I love the remakes of Mediocre Madness. I love remakes of they're not even like different playfields. Like it's just the same thing.
Well, the reason why they remade them is because they were so popular.
Oh yeah, exactly. Spider-Man remake's even good. I don't know if I like it more than the original, but still good. You know.
True that. So that's it for now. We will catch you next time, ladies and gentlemen. We are out.